Okay, everybody, so today I'm going to talk a little bit about how to organize your collection. I think it's super important to organize your collection, and I maintain that it's really important to organize it by site. Why would I organize it by site? Well, it's because when I find pieces of things, that I can piece them back together. One example, and there's many examples across my display cases, is these two pieces, obviously from the same silver item. Some sort of probably an Art Nouveau item that I've been able to piece back together because I knew they came from the same site. I would have perhaps never known the identity of some of these relics if I hadn't been able to piece them back together from individual pieces I found, because you don't always find the most obvious, biggest piece of a relic the first time. A lot of times you find something much later that really tells you what the ID is. And so you want to be able to piece these things together. And of course I do these with Riker mounts. These Riker cases, you can buy them, used to be able to buy them at Sergeant Riker's. I like the polyfill that's like the non-Chinese polyfill. There's a kind that's like really tough that doesn't really offer as much, it doesn't keep the relics isolated as much, if that makes sense. So of course these have clear tops, these cases do, and the added benefit about this is that on the inside rim, if you wanted, you could write down a site name. You could even put coordinates on a little sticker and then stick it in here if you wanted to, or a slogan, however you identify the site. The surefire way to have your descendants and anybody else who inherits your collection to be able to find that would be to put GPS coordinates there. But you could also just identify it by site name. And then of course, if you're going to file these horizontally, which is probably what you're going to do, you would probably want to identify a site name and perhaps a year as well on the outside of this box. So you want to put a sticker there that you've written some sort of information on, so that you don't have to pull out each case to see what's there. You'd be able to then just go down through the case, either chronologically or by site, and look at what's in, see what's there without having to pull a case out, look at it, put it back, and so forth. You'd be able to just see from the edge. So that's why I like these. I've got plans in my upcoming book that show these cases in a set of shelves that I've built, and the set of shelves, you can fit all of these cases in. You can stack them up, and of course they fit the smaller cases too, because if you buy the right size of these Riker cases, then the half size fits on top of the half size, and the quarter size fits on top. 4 of them fit on top of this 12 by 16. Anyhow, so that's the way I organize everything, by site, so that I can figure out what I have and make sure that I've got the right relics pieced back together and so forth. And again, I think that's super important. And it's super important for posterity because this gives more information about what was on this site. So for example, just for example, if I was thinking about this site, now I have multiple display cases from this site, but if I was thinking, what do these relics tell me? They tell me that there were some very well-to-do people who lived at this site, judging by the silver items, judging by the number of coins, judging by souvenirs like this watch fob, pop-out fob, which was probably purchased at an event like the Chicago World's Fair or the Columbian Expo, those types of things. It shows me that there were World War I veterans that were there. It shows me that there were Civil War veterans that were there. It shows me that the wealth and affluence was included lots of jewelry items for women, as well as utilitarian items. Fine pens, writing utensils, nice thimbles. Horse tack also there. So later occupations as well, including workers in corporations like Celotex, which made like asbestos products. It was an old business that was located near New Orleans on the river. And so things like that tell me that there's a wide span of time in this site. It tells me that there was a lot of affluence here, and it tells me that the site was reoccupied later on by a wide variety of people, including working class folks, and not just like quote unquote plantation owners and so forth. So all of that information I can tell. I can also tell what types of items these people liked and what types of items they purchased. So it gives me an insight into what their buying habits were. And so it allows me to get a lot more information than if I just put every coin with another coin. Then I lose the sense of how many coins were at this site. How often were coins lost? How do the coins and the dates on the coins relate to the other things that were found here in terms of the year and the age? So for example, I see this little piece that's a piece of a skater's lamp or a tin-bodied oil lamp that's a finger loop, broken finger loop. So if I find these at sites that I can more securely date, then I know more about the age range of those sites and when that relic dates from, for example. So all that information would be lost if I just put all of those things in one thing. All of the parasol runners and top notches together or something. Then they become meaningless in a way. But when I can see it all laid out like this, and it allows me to draw better conclusions about what's there. So that's my little spiel about why we should organize by site. And I know that a lot of folks hunt sites that are not as expansive as these massive plantation sites and things down here in the Deep South. So I have a solution for that. Just one second and I'll show you that. So one of the solutions that you may find for a site where there's not a lot of stuff, either not a lot of finds or not a lot of stuff there, or you didn't get to hunt it very many times or whatever, works for even yards, is to just use a plastic bag method. I've got this little plastic bag, came from some sort of key fob or truck fob or something that I bought, but I've just repurposed it and put the collar disc and some other things. I found a very small site, and so I just kept that stuff together. If I'd found some nice silver coins or something, I would have put them in a 2x2 holder, put them down in there, and the only thing that's missing from this baggie is a little post-it note folded in half that has the site information on it, so that I can come back and find that if I need. And I can just keep that in a drawer with other things from the same year, and I can locate it pretty quickly if I need. So just wanted to show that method. Obviously a bigger Ziploc bag would work, or a small box if you've got something, if it's a site where you didn't find very much good stuff, really displayable stuff. And with this stuff, it gets to the point where you dig so much stuff that it's impossible to display it all anyhow. I've got 33 years of relics, and my wife has 18 years of relics. Oh my God! So taking over our house. So there's no way to display all of it anyhow. So that's an idea for you. Well, there's many options for displaying things that don't fit in display cases. I've got an acrylic stand here for a black powder musket that my wife dug. Shotgun, single barrel shotgun. It actually had a piece of the ramrod still down inside it when she found it. Got some shinkle shell fragments here and some other things and so forth. 6-pounder bayonet here. So I've got some various things. That's always an option when something doesn't fit in a display case. So definitely something to think about there. I'll show you another option here right now. Okay, here is another option. You can always either have a relic drawer or a relic cabinet. I've got an illuminated relic cabinet. I've got some things up here that are like bottles, old bottles. Some brass figurines that I've dug, which are really, really cool. I've got some brass stirrups and some other things, some hobble skirt cokes and some older bottles here. And then down below I've got items like these that don't fit in display cases, railroad locks, things like that, spurs that are mainly complete and so forth. Here's a silver fork that's pretty well dug. I've got everything individually tagged. So that says early 1800s silver fork dug 2022. On the back of that tag, it says the site name, so that I can always remember exactly where everything was found. So a bunch of great stuff in there. And again, I just label things individually so that I can go back and figure out what it is. I've got swords, I've got all kinds of stuff in there. So that's an idea if you want a display case where you can find everything, know what it is, individually tag it. You can do this also with drawers and just have drawers full of relics, larger relics that don't fit in cases, and just tag them individually. Okay, the last thing I wanted to show you was this. This is a big Riker case here, and as you can see, it's got marbles in it, and it's a fairly deep case. You can buy these that are thicker. It's about 2 inches deep. And then what you do is you take the polyfill out and you cut egg crate foam. Okay, I've just got black egg crate foam that's been cut to fit here. And so this is great for marbles. I have been recovering marbles for a long time. You can even, if you really wanted to be super organized, you could even number these, from left to right, each row. And you could have a spreadsheet that had the marble color and ID and where it was from, but I'm not that organized. But anyhow, I just wanted to show you this because this is great for, as I said, putting marbles in cases. And I only keep the better marbles here because I keep the ones that aren't damaged, destroyed. I don't really know a lot about marble IDs, but I do know that they need to be in good shape and good condition. So these are ones that are not smacked around by the plow. So out of thousands of marbles that I've eyeballed and found and dug and so forth, these are the ones that stand out to me as being, really in nice shape. So again, I don't really know a whole lot about marbles. I know enough, but I don't know a tremendous amount. This one's got a Ponel mark on it. But I really like them. And so that's one way to store those in a beautiful way without much expense.